Hey everyone, Freezing Climber here. I'm doing a lot of projects right now, and I wanted to release a video for 2023, because it's been a while. I have two long videos that I'm making right now. The first one is currently being made, but it's taking a while to put together. And the other one is a long video that I got 2 minutes into before stopping to take a breather. What does that have to do with anything? Well, I decided to release a shorter video this time around. Since my Shut Up Cartoons video did so well, I decided to take a stab at another web series, Bee and Puppycat, Death Battle. There's a lot to like about Death Battle. The commentary, the analysis, the fights, and learning about new characters and series that I never would have before. For a while, I've thought of reviewing every season of Death Battle, like how Biff Weed and Digital Tie did. The one problem is that I really don't want to revisit Season 1. So, to delay that, I thought of something else. Now, when I made this, I had to try and keep my bias intact, while still making sure to add stuff that I like, and stuff that would make sense. It was pretty hard to do so, but after a while, I managed to come up with a few guidelines that could set things straight. I made sure to put in a somewhat equal amount of manga, video game, cartoon, and comic representation. I also tried to keep things similar to seasons before. Marvel vs. DC matchups, Halloween episodes, serious and goofy episodes, long requested fights, new favorites, a couple of oddballs. In any case, it was a good day to make it. First up, we have Denji from Chainsaw Man and Yuji Itadori from Jujutsu Kaisen. They're both characters who start as relatively average humans, when all of a sudden, something bad happens, leading to them taking in the demon and having them fight off the world of demons with help from the demon inside them. Now, as of writing this, the anime for both of these series is only 1 season long. Because of that, it could be a bit weird to incorporate it in, but then again, Omni-Man was brought in after only 1 season. But to be fair, both of these series are ongoing. But to be equally fair, we have a bunch of My Hero Academia and One Piece characters in Death Battle, so I think it would be cool to see. I thought for a bit about Gojo vs. Makima, because that could be like an All Might vs. Might guy or a Madara vs. Aizen battle, where they're so overpowered in their world that the battle could be really nuts. Plus, this is the season opener, so it would be cool to see, but we don't have a true scope in the anime for Makima, even if we have a brief one for Gojo, so starting them from here could be enough. In terms of who I'd root for, I'd say I'm mixed. I think I'm okay with either one winning in all honesty, though I'd give the edge to Chainsaw Man only because I saw the anime recently. Next up is a Link Battle Royale. It's been a while since we've had a Battle Royale, and considering how great the Mega Man Battle Royale was, I feel like we should deal with another series with multiple iterations of the same character through different timelines, or even the same timeline. Hence why I'm doing this here. Plus, there's the fact that after we had Zelda, Ganon, and Link multiple times, there's not a lot of Zelda rep left. Now, for the Mega Man Battle Royale, Death Battle was able to choose them based on the Smash 4 Final Smash, where the most popular Mega Men were showed off. For this list of links, I decided to go with the links that have appeared in multiple games, those being the Hero of Hyrule, the Hero of Legend, the Hero of Time, the Hero of Winds, hypothetically the Hero of Twilight, and the Hero of the Wild. The reason why I put the hypothetically warning for the Hero of Twilight is because Link's crossbow training is a spin-off, and dealing with 6 heroes may be a bit more tricky when compared to dealing with 5 heroes. If it's possible, the Hero of Twilight would be cool to see, but whatever makes Death Battle comfortable. As for who I'd root for, I think that the Hero of Time would definitely win with all his masks, but I won't deny that the Hero of Legend has a lot of tricks that could mess with him. I hope you guys are excited for the Marvel vs. DC matchup. Yay! Wasp vs. Bumblebee, 2 female superheroes named after bugs and having the power to shrink in size. Wasp and Bumblebee have become more relevant characters as of recently, what with the new Ant-Man movie and DC Superhero Girls. Plus, I think it would be cool to have a small fight but making it big in scope. Like, I envision it working similarly to Android 18 versus Captain Marvel, but as insects who could use the relatively big terrain to their advantage. To be fair though, I can only think of the B-movie fencing fight when I envision this, so take that as you will. I root for Bumblebee because I like her portrayal in DC Superhero Girls and in Teen Titans. Next up is the obligatory fighting game rep. Street Fighter, Killer Instinct, Mortal Kombat, Tekken. There has to be at least 1 per season. So for this one, I chose Sakura from Street Fighter and Asuka from Tekken. They're both schoolgirls who learn to throw hands in their fighting game worlds. Personally, while I don't think this fight could be the most epic fight in existence, I imagine it would be like a Terry vs. Ken scenario, where it's two ladies who just happen to fight in a dojo or a school, but it kinda escalates. Not like Ryu vs. Jin where they have super forms, but maybe something simpler, with them busting out powerful moves. I kinda imagine it like the 1-minute melee of Terry vs. Burai. As for who I'm rooting for, Sakura, cause I know her a bit better, but I think that's it. Here we get a sillier battle in the halfway point in the first 10 episodes, Adam West Batman vs. Japanese Spider-Man. I think it works well as both a Marvel vs. DC episode and a joke episode. Both of them are lighthearted, unusual versions of iconic superheroes that have battled in the past. Honestly, I feel like this battle would be perfect for a reintroduction to live-action death battles. Like, the past two weren't just Marvel vs. DC themed, not only having a member of the Bat family, but they were both in darker locales. Making a live-action fight that's bright and comical for a change would be pretty fun to see. In any case, I'd probably root for Adam West Batman because it's Adam West Batman. One thing y'all might know about me is that I have a huge Nintendo bias. It's mostly because I grew up with Nintendo stuff, so I know Nintendo stuff the most. Because of this, I tried branching out, and I inevitably came up with this. Nakiro from Heavenly Sword vs. Alloy from Horizon. They're both outcasts, traversing a seemingly anachronistic world, due to being shunned for their people for circumstances surrounding their birth, who would eventually end up being revered by the same people due to their accomplishments by fulfilling their destiny. A mouthful, but I think it'd be interesting to have them fight. Who do I root for? Nakiro was in PlayStation All-Stars. Sorry, there's not a lot to this one, but again, not a PlayStation person. Unfortunately, we're at the final Marvel vs. DC match. I know, it's unfortunate, but it'll have to do. She-Hulk vs. Supergirl, two female versions of iconically powerful male superheroes. Now, I was originally gonna put in Clayface vs. Sandman, because we haven't had any Earth-themed fights since Gar vs. Toph. Seems like it works thematically too. But ultimately, it's irrelevant, comparatively speaking. Like, they both appeared recently in No Way Home and the Harley Quinn cartoon, but it's not as much as She-Hulk. Not to mention, it's another Batman vs. Spider-Man matchup. She-Hulk is relevant thanks to the Disney Plus show, and we finally get the answer to Hulk vs. Superman, though it's in female form. I just hope that it won't be a She-Ra vs. Wonder Woman scenario, where they don't take advantage of either of their strengths. I root for She-Hulk because yes. Time for it to get out there. The next fight is Perry the Platypus from Phineas and Ferb versus Skipper from the Penguins of Madagascar. Both secret agent animals with tactical genius despite them being small, build, flightless animals. I think that their skills would definitely have them matched. Of course, if we were to give Agent P most of his stuff, then we would probably have to look at the Penguins cartoon to see all the stuff that he gets. Either way, I feel like it might be a stomp all the way in the direction of Perry, but actually looking it up and comparing them both dealing with crazy foes, it's actually kinda even. If I had to bet though, I'd say Perry's versatility wins it for him in the end. Plus, more DreamWorks representation is always a good thing. Remember Black Canary vs. Sindo? A generally cool idea using the power of sound-based attacks against one another via screaming. But unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of diversity within the moves. It was just screaming, hair, and sound bombs. Not the worst, but I feel like it could be better. Especially with something as cool as sound. Black Bolt from Marvel vs. Zebra from Toriko would be a cool fight to see. Both of these guys have sound-based powers that they use to do cool stuff instead of just scream. Now, who is Zebra? Well, he's from Toriko. What's Toriko? Remember that one time there was a crossover with Dragon Ball and One Piece? Yeah, that's the guy. I think it would also be impressive to see an analysis of Toriko stat-wise. Like, I recently finished reading it, and by the end of the series, Toriko makes an impact that covers a quarter of the planet's circumference. Pretty impressive, but also impressive considering that the planet is 500 times bigger than our Earth. In any case, I root for Zebra, cause I like him. The mid-season finale is going to be Kefka from Final Fantasy versus Marx from Kirby. Both are clowns who have obtained ridiculous cosmic power and use this power for evil. Now, this one is a battle that seems silly but is ridiculously intense. Like, Kefka is comparable to Typhon, who can flip the entire planet, and Mars is comparable to Kirby, who can crack the planet in half. Not to mention, they both have crazy magic that they can perform. Black holes, comets, Heartless Wing, Ultima. It would truly be a match of divine possibilities, like how Thanos vs. Darkseid should have been. I root for March in this one, but either way, these two overpowered universes clashing would be amazing to see. The mid-season premiere is going to be Jenny Wakeman from My Life as a Teenage Robot versus Robot Boy. from Robot Boy. Advanced human-like robots created by scientists made to protect humanity, yet they have a desire to fit in with humanity. Their bodies twist and transform so much that it'd be a fun battle to see. Personally, I think a lot of people will want to see this animated, either in the Blind Fair production style, or like Samurai Jack vs. Afro Samurai. But I personally am not opposed to a sprite fight, like with Danny Phantom vs. Jake Long, Steven Universe vs. Star Butterfly, or even Ben 10 vs. Green Lantern. If they can handle the style in those sprite fights, I feel like they could handle doing it here. I root for Jenny because she is epic. Next up is Spike's Beagle from Cowboy Bebop vs. Revi from Black Lagoon, two anime outlaws perfect for collecting bounties and firing guns. I feel like this is a fight that doesn't have to be animation heavy in terms of spectacle. I mean, we just dealt with several Planet Busters in a row, so I feel like this makes sense from a workload standpoint. But I also feel like this fight could be good at making a battle like Samurai Jack vs. Afro Samurai, or even James Bond vs. John Wick. Relatively minimalistic in terms of props, but still intense in terms of animating the characters and their motions. The action in both of these sources' shows are very fluid in regards to their characters' motions, and I think that makes it a really fun battle to observe. I root for Spike because he's cooler and a statement. Next up is Nezuko from Demon Slayer vs. Alphonse Elric from Fullmetal Alchemist, characters who are younger siblings to the main protagonist of this series, who have been cursed and are no longer human, with their series revolving finding a workaround or a solution to it. I feel like Death Battle didn't get a good introduction to Fullmetal Alchemist. I mean, Aang vs. Edward wasn't a bad episode, but it definitely just felt like a stomp in Aang's favor. On the other hand, I think Tanjiro vs. Jonathan was a great introduction to Demon Slayer, but I feel like both of these characters would be cool to see fight, especially given their character traits, which honestly might be Aang vs. Elric a bit better. Not that Alphonse is a total pacifist, but he fights when it's necessary to protect those he loves. Same with Nezuko. In any case, I root Alphonse because he's a Chad, but honestly I can root for either one. Next match is Travis Touchdown from No More Heroes vs. Jack Kamen from Mad World. Both of them are dual-wielding fighters that have to go through killing a ranking of people to be the best, all while being on Game for the Wii with motion controls and a non-kid-friendly rating. At first, I was in the phase of wanting Scott Pilgrim to fight Travis, but coming up with these comparisons makes me see why so many people love this matchup. It would be perfect for a 3D fight, and would have an incredible chance to have one of the goriest death battle deaths. Plus, the rest of these fighters have at least one manga/anime rep, so I want to end off pure video game rep with a bang. I root for Travis because he has like 4 games to go from. Next up is a weird one. It's a matchup I haven't seen too commonly, but I think it would be a fun, silly battle to throw in now that we're halfway through. Puka vs. Arale from Dr. Slump. Now, some of you may not know who these people are, unless you watch Dragon Ball, but in essence, they're both gag characters. People may know Arale. She could punch through the world and split it in half, and could even compete with Super Saiyan Blue Goku. That is, if Death Battle considers that canon. Puka, on the other hand, has insane speeds, reaching rocket velocity. A version of Puka was on par with Master Su, who can move stars, and she was able to pull the moon out of orbit. As for hacks, they both have hacks for days. They can both travel through time, Arale can manipulate the fourth wall at will, Puka can do the same thing for the reality of her world by becoming a genie, she can literally tear apart the fabric of reality to go into the astral plane. Either way, it's gonna be a hell of a fight. I root for Puka because why not? If they don't use Dragon Ball canon, then it's pretty much even, but if they do, Arale's got this in the bag. Next up is Korosensei from Assassination Classroom vs. Zero Kamakura from Danganronpa. Now, when bringing up matchups for Assassination Classroom and Danganronpa, the most common one is Korosensei vs. Monokuma. After all, they're both teachers/authorities in their respective classroom-based killing games, but I feel like Zero Kamakura could work better for them. They've both been experimented on in order to gain some sort of talent or to become an ultimate life form. Their backstories include being betrayed by the people who they thought had their best interests in hand, and then the death of a loved one causing them to change to fight for the sake of good, which happens to be introducing people to a killing game where they need to kill the mastermind in the end in order for them to move on and succeed. Plus, I think that it's a real unstoppable force versus immovable object battle, considering the massive speed advantage Korosensei has, along with some of his hacks, compared to Izuru Kamakura, who's the master of literally every talent in Danganronpa, including luck. In any case, I root for Kamakura, because he has a surprising amount of advantages compared to Korosensei, including durability, smarts, and power. Next up is Joker from Persona 5 vs Giorno from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5. Both of these are protagonists from the 5th version of their series. They're both leaders of crime syndicates, and they lead given powers of a being that fights alongside them thanks to the wills of their spirits. A JoJo vs Persona matchup has been requested since the dawn of time, and for really fitting reasons too. Apparently, even if Giorno uses the arrow for Requiem, Joker can nullify their abilities. Plus, apparently the hacks are crazy for this fight, so I think it would be super cool to see it unfold, like how Scarlet Witch vs Zatanna did, or even Twilight vs Raven. Plus, I think the imagery of Persona 5 mixed with JoJo would be amazing to see, or even orchestrate. In any case, I root for Giorno because I'm more familiar with JoJo. Next up is our final video game matchup and a perfect Halloween mashup, Luigi vs PacMan. Both of them are famous video game ghost hunters. That's basically it. Okay, the connections are admittedly kind of sparse here, but I feel like they would be really good to see against one another. Luigi famously got shafted hard in Luigi vs Tails, so having him come back with better abilities would be nice to see, and having him fight PacMan would be legendary, as it would be nice to see an introduction to the PacMan series. Plus, I could easily imagine them doing a retro style visual for them, like it's Scrooge McDuck vs Shovel Knight. Also, I think it's pretty nice to have a Halloween death battle that focuses on the goofier side of Halloween, instead of going for gothic or horror themed one specifically. I vote Luigi because I love him, but in any case we got 2 more left to go. The penultimate episode is Ash and Pikachu from Pokemon vs Kyo and Zatch Bell from Zatch Bell, 2 owner-slash-pet pairs from Monster Fighting series that have electric powers. Now, for those of you who don't know what Zatch Bell is, it's an anime where puppets are forced to fight one another. Sure, it came out during the monster catching craze where everyone was trying to be like Pokemon, but I feel like these two are actually a really good matchup, and Zatch Bell definitely has the power to back it up. In regards to Pikachu, holy moly, is Pikachu a different beast from when he was brought in for Pikachu vs Blanca. Z moves, Dynamax, and intense electricity redirection powers make him a fair match for Zatch, who's got a lot of power behind his lightning and physical forms. I also like this battle since it focuses on both of them strategizing as teams, rather than having, I don't know, a lesson on how Digimon and trainers have a better connection compared to Pokemon and trainers, and not having Tai beat the shit out of Red. In any case, I would have voted for Zatch, but Pikachu has gotten so many buffs. Galactus vs Unicron is a widely requested matchup because they're big and powerful and whatnot. Originally, I was gonna put it here. It's a big battle and it's very much requested by a lot of people. But personally, I'm not the biggest fan of it. Sure, I know I had to make some exceptions of what I want, but I want to at least end my fan list in the way that I want to. So instead, Ness vs Frisk. Both protagonists of RPGs in which they use common objects to fight, but have a wealth of power within them, whether it's through PSI or determination, and they both have power over the entire universe. A bit more high stakes than you originally thought, but it's true. For both of them, dying isn't even conventional to them. With enough determination, Frisk can survive anything, and even when they do die, they can always reload. For Ness, when he dies, he gets to reset to when he wakes up, seeing it as a dream, but instead uses it as precognition. Thanks to the events of Earthbound, Ness got a lot of powers over the universe, gaining universal omnipotence, and Frisk can do that too thanks to the reset mode. It's a lot to consider, but it would be an amazing battle to witness. I root for Ness because, dealing with Hack, Ness has more experience, and more magical options, plus stronger abilities and such. Well, time for none of it or all of it to get used. Cheers.